Everyone, welcome to You Plant, We Water. I am your host, Dr. Toy Flowers, licensed professional counselor with a specialization in couples and family counseling, as well as a professor of counseling. And I am absolutely thrilled to welcome my lovely yet distinguished co host.
Hi. We love this show because everything is live. So, hi, I'm Trisha. I am a lifestyle coach and a minister, and we are coming to you live today with some great stuff. Can't wait.
Absolutely. So, you may or may not have noticed a little different look I've got going on here today. I wish I could say it was all completely intentional, but it was not. But having said that, it is going to be totally appropriate for the theme of today's show because we are going to be answering some common questions from young people about relationships. And by young, we're talking teens. So, think about your first love experience. Those of you who are really advanced, maybe, it might have been well before that, but that's okay. But we're thinking like teenagers, maybe young adult, like early 20s. But just what are the questions people have right at the beginning of this journey? What's great is I've had a chance to kind of preview them, and they're some of the same questions that people have decades later with lots of relationship experience. So having said that, before we jump in, let's do a little personal anecdote. This is live and I'm making this up. You want to share a little about your first love? Think back your first teen love. Our mom used to call it puppy love.
Okay, so let me say this. This is so right on time, and I'm not getting paid for this, but there's a new series called the Judy Blume, and it's a spin forever. And so it's about young love. And so I was watching that and it had me reminiscing. And then I realized I didn't love the person that I thought I did. But I think most of us do that when you're first starting out. It feels so real. You can't breathe. You can't think. You can't sleep. And all of those things you begin to realize that was the excitement of the newness for me. For me.
Well said. I to think back my first love, this is probably more information than you all want to know, but I was in high school and I was a senior. It was like summer of senior year. So I was going into my senior year and my mom would say, "Oh, what's puppy love?" We were together for many years. I think I was with him for maybe 4 years. Don't do the math, those of y'all. No mathing. However, having said that, it was wonderful. It's like the butterflies in your stomach, all the new things. And of course, I was like, this isn't just my first love. This is my love. We're going to be together forever. Okay. Like, that didn't happen, but we gave it a good shot. And so as a result, most of the time, especially young people, not always, but I do have friends who met in high school and they are still married to this day, right? But for some of you, your first love is also going to bring about the reverse side of that coin, which is your first heartbreak. All right? Okay, so let's dive into what some of the questions are. Okay, my person is pressuring me to do things I'm not comfortable with. What should I do?
So for me, I am a slow mover. And it's probably because of the first love, right? So I do everything intentional. So I'm going to immediately say, don't. Like, if you're not feeling comfortable with something, don't do it. Because at the end of the day, you're still very young and you have all of this time to figure it out. So it's very cliche, but don't do anything that you're not ready to do or ready to handle. Or if it's feeling pressure, just don't do it.
Love it. I'm gonna tag team on there. One, if somebody who's supposed to love you is pressuring you, that's a red flag. If they're not respecting your boundary, and if you said, I want to wait, slow down, that's a red flag. That's not love. Okay. So there's that. Secondly, if you can't talk about it, you shouldn't be doing it. So if you can't have a conversation about some of these things, whatever they may be, then that's a good indication that you and them, not just you, but that you all are not ready for those things. And then thirdly, I just want to remind you that your body is your body, right? And a lot of these times when these people, especially y'all, I'm just gonna keep it 100. Dr. Toya Flowers is gonna be honest, especially when you're young. A lot of these people is pressuring you and doing all, they not got their stuff together. They just listen. It could come with regret, right? So keep your dignity and stay with a no, a hard no. And you got the Lord on your side, right? Because really none of these things should be happening anyway. But let me say this, because there is such a thing as what is called acquaintance rape, right? Which is a very real thing. And since we're talking to young people, I want to stress that as well. And that's pressure, but it goes beyond pressure. If you've said no and someone is still doing things in that moment, they're going beyond just pressure. So do what you can to get yourself out of this situation. Any other thoughts?
That was actually in the TV show, not the pressuring, but she ended up doing something she regretted. And you guys live in an age where everything is public and it's on social media and you can record with your phone. So unlike with me, we didn't have recording, so you could just deny. But you guys do have that. So that's something that you have to be very mindful of. And that these decisions, although it could be a quick decision in the moment, it can be life-changing where it is affecting your career because you've done something that was outside of your character to either keep somebody or to be with somebody. And I hate to say it, I don't want to be a dream crusher, but you probably will not be with that person long term. And even if you guys are, that may not be something that you want to expose later in life when you become more mature.
Listen, all of that. I'm going to shout out my mom. One thing I love that she did when I was growing up, right? She would do like role plays and scenarios with me, just kind of like, so what would you say? So it wasn't just like, if somebody's pressuring me, I'm going to say, I'm not ready. We were role players. You would be like, okay, well, what if he's like, if you love me, you would. And then I would say, well, I would say, whatever. And I think that's good. Even if you don't have a parent that's going to role play, don't just wait till you're in the situation, right? Game, or we used to call it game in my day, Mac, Riz, whatever you young people call it, it goes both ways. So you can have game on why you're not going to do nothing you're ready to do, just like he's got game on why you should, right? So one that I came up with, young people, make it cool, make it popping for you. But one thing you'll hear all the time is, if you love me, you would, right? And when you were saying if they're going to be together for a long time, you flip that right on them. And if you love me, we got forever. So what's the rush? And see from there. You could just keep coming up with these things, right? So that you feel, what I'm trying to do is empower you, because regret is a heck of a drug. Right? Like, it'll stick with you. You'll be thinking about it when you're my age and beyond. So it's better to stick with what you feel comfortable with. And if you ignore everything else I've said, just know that a person that's pressuring you and won't respect your no, that's not a good person for you. Okay. Shall we move on?
Yes.
All right, we agree. But to that point about mom and the scenarios, I don't know if this happened to you, but one of our older cousins really got into the role play, had me like, oh, well, like, what you gonna say if he say that? I'm like,
I vaguely remember, but no, I didn't have that. I didn't have that one, but I do vaguely remember this whole situation, and it is good. And then I wanted to say this before we move on.
Okay.
Whatever you do, try to ask someone that has more wisdom. Try not to go with your peers because they're going through the same thing, right? So
Yes.
I'm going to, of course, encourage you to do whatever I did, even though I didn't really enjoy it myself anyway. But I'm like, well, I did it. You should do it too. And then we could talk. But try to go to someone who has more wisdom than you do.
Yes, I'm seeing some of the comments. Latrice, you are so right? Snap and say goodbye. And if he loved me, he would wait until I'm ready. Facts, facts, facts. And good evening to you, Reverend Morris. Okay. Another question that young people typically have, and by young, remember, for those of you just tuning in, we're talking about our teens, first love type thing. Oh, this is one that plagues all of us, but I think my person is cheating on me. How can I confront them?
I am not the best one because I have a very direct approach. Like I'm not gonna guess. I'm gonna go direct to the source, and I'm gonna ask you point blank. And the thing isn't if you cheated. For me, this is as I've gotten older. It's if you don't admit that you did, then we can't come back. There's no more coming back because people do make mistakes. You're human. But if you look me in my face and tell me point blank, no, I didn't, and you did, it's a wrap.
That's a good point because you're a cheater and a liar, right? And now what I know is that you can look me in my face and lie with little conscience, right? So, but having said that, young people, it's a hard one, right? It's something that's difficult no matter where you get in life. And if we're being totally honest, the odds of your person cheating if you're young are pretty high because, there's the things. Not to say that there aren't young people with character and integrity who wouldn't cheat, because a lot of times it's not the cheat, it's not even to seeing other people. Just be honest, right? Just give the other person the chance to do the same. If you don't want to be on a one-on-one exclusive relationship, just say that, right? Don't mislead the other person. But how can you confront them? I think being direct is good, right? Because that's a good approach for anything that you're feeling, whether you're feeling ignored or I don't know, whatever it is. Having a direct approach can be good. Having said that, we got our petty, professional, prophetic. It's going to seem petty, but I'm just really keeping it real. I'm talking to y'all like an auntie now, not like Dr. Toy Flowers. When you confront someone about cheating, sweetheart, they always, or sweet son, whoever it is, they're always going to deny it. Okay. I shouldn't say always. 98.96% of the time, you could be looking at them, just like the song, which y'all not gonna know this, young people, but it was a song. It wasn't me. Like she caught me in the bathroom. It wasn't me. That's what you're hearing. It wasn't me. You could be looking at them. You could have receipts, and they're gonna say, "No, I didn't. It wasn't me." So I say all that to say it's less about the confrontation. You don't want to confront them thinking, "Oh yes, now I'm gonna get the truth." You want the confrontation to be for your own good. Maybe you want closure. Maybe you hoping that, like Trisha said, you're gonna have an honest conversation about it. Maybe you're hoping you can get some insights into what it was. Oh, thanks, Latrice. About the hair. But I don't want to mislead you in thinking that by confronting someone who you believe is cheating on you, that they're gonna say, "You got me. I was." The odds of that are pretty slim. Most people, knowing they did wrong, are just going to get defensive. They might deflect. They might put it back on you. "I can't believe you don't trust me," right? As you get older, you'll know. So there's no easy answer with this. All I could just let you know is make sure you're doing it for you and not because you're thinking that you're going to by bringing it up. And I do mean you could have receipts, right? Like, so make sure it's for you. Maybe it's for closure, maybe it's for clarity, but just know that that's probably what's going to happen. Any other thoughts?
So yes, I wanted to say this, and this was told to me a long time ago in dating. Mm-hmm. If you feel like the person is cheating, get to what the issue really is. It's not that they may be neglecting you. They may be not spending, or not giving you what you used to have, right?
Mm.
And so that's enough to leave a person. I don't need to
Say that. You don't have to.
I don't
prove it.
need the proof as I've gotten older. I will leave you for the feeling of that this is not feeling good. This is feeling like something that isn't making me happy, which is where we were at when we started this. So for you as a young person, just recognize for yourself 10 times out of 10, it's something about not the cheating. That's just the icing on the cake. But it's something about the person's behavior that is now making you feel uncomfortable. And it's okay to get out of a situation that feels uncomfortable. That's your reason. You don't need an extra, like, well, I gotta make sure that they're not in the car. Like, you don't need any of that. When you're young, I've done it too. That's why I said, oh my God, this is really hard. I've been a stalker. So I've been hiding out to catch them, right? But at the end of the day, that's wasted energy and it's not fun for you. And it's not okay. But if you really, really, we related, I strongly agree.
I always love
you have to just know that that's enough. You don't have to have a follow-up with that. And it's harder than me just saying it. But if you feel a way in your spirit, your soul, especially being that this is a show where we're centered around God, that's enough. You don't really need any more.
That is so true. You don't ever have to have proof at all, right? Something's off to you. So I love that you said that. Or because a lot of times with the cheating, that is what happens. The contract that you had, the unspoken contract of how your relationship goes, it starts changing. And that's not what you signed up for. So you could be out, right? You don't ever have to prove anything. You just say, it's not what I thought it was, it's not what it was at the beginning, and I'm not interested in what it is now. Right?
And that's enough. That is absolutely enough. And it takes so many of us so much time to get to that point where you're like, well, I gotta go. No, you don't. You don't have to go through people's phones, and you don't have to go get their search, because I can tell you this too. This is from my auntie as well. The evidence is going to come out.
Yeah.
You don't have to find it. And then by then you're already ready to move on. So you're good. So
right. It's just
that's my petty.
Just confirmation, right? No, and that's true. The truth, as the Bible says, the truth will always come to light. Right. So but I love the question. I think the part we're stressing is the confront, right? That's the part that's tricky. And is that something you really want to do? And is it even going to help in whatever your end goal is? If your end goal is to get out of something that's feeling unhealthy, unfulfilling, you don't have to confront them. But if you want to be petty and confront them first and make them know, like, bam, I know this, you can do all the things, right? So, and you wouldn't be alone. Old people are still doing it. So, okay, here's another one from our young people. It's sort of related, sort of not. I'm feeling really possessive or jealous in my relationship. Is that normal?
It is normal to have an attachment, but it's not normal to be possessive, right? So it's normal to have feelings of jealousy when you see the person that you're with and you like them, and that's the normal. But when we get to the possessive side, that's not good. You shouldn't be telling people what they should and shouldn't do or anything like that. That's my advice. Like, that's never going to work. And you don't get to see the person for who they are if you're giving them these parameters. Like, and it's almost, you can get to being abusive, right? Like, you don't smile. Like, well, wait a minute, I was a smiler. So you
don't make eye contact. Yeah.
That's the start of going to a toxic place, and that's not good.
Yeah. Having said that, yes, it is completely normal. You are a human being. You are going to feel jealous. It's not even just in love relationships. Jealousy is a normal human emotion. You might feel jealous of your homegirl's outfit, right? It's what you do with the feelings of jealousy, right? So it is very normal, especially if it's someone you care about. And in some ways, keeping it honest, a little bit of jealousy is, you might like it. And if somebody's a little jealous, you kind of like it. But it's what we do. And I think the difference there is jealous versus possessive, right? To be jealous just means something in me, I had a ping, a tug at my heart in some way, just like all other emotions, anger, sadness, happiness, joy. That's okay. To be possessive means you are feeling that you own somebody. And that's when we've crossed into another area that you don't want to go there. A lot of times it's that little tinge of jealousy that keeps you on your toes, make sure you keep yourself looking good, or that you know, do the nice things that you did at the beginning. And sometimes it's the thing that's, I don't want to go too far now, but it's the possessiveness that would be the part where I would say you're crossing over. And when something is new with a first love, you're gonna feel all the things that come with a relationship on like 100, right? Like it's so magnified. So I wouldn't worry about feelings of jealousy. I would be more concerned about what are you doing about them, which is super important. Like if you slitting outside, then you probably cross over into a dark place. But if you just kind of like, I don't know. I always speak from a female's perspective, not because this is happening more or less to female, but because I am a female. But as let's say there's a guy and you're like, I didn't like seeing her over there kikiing with Tony. There's nothing wrong with that. That's probably just a natural human emotion. But if you go over there and punch Tony in the mouth, okay, that's what we're saying.
You're taking it too far. And that is not okay, right? So we want to make sure that, like she said, we are controlling our emotions. And once we are not controlling our emotions, that means that we need to take a little moment, have a little cool off, because what we don't get to do is control another person.
Yes, you have no control over another person. The only person you can ever change is you, right? All right. So we got that. Here's another. Let me see how I'm doing. Okay, we're doing good. The last one I think we'll cover probably is this. Me and my person have different values or goals. Can our relationship still work?
Now that's what's perplexing. We have different values and goals.
Yeah.
Yes, as long as they're not conflicting, right? I have different values as a grown-up in the relationship that I'm in. However, we do have a meeting where there are certain things like my mate values sports. I really don't value them that much. However, what I will tell you is I will go to sporting events because I learned a long time ago by observing people that what you don't do, somebody else is willing to do. So even though I don't necessarily enjoy it, I will go, and I'm not doing it all the time, but I will go and be supportive. And I have realized I'm a fair weather fan. I'm all the way in during playoffs and all of the fun stuff. I'm like, people are like, you really love this. I don't, but I will be able to do it. And so it's possible as long as it's not something that is a deal breaker for you.
Right. And to that point, right, one of the things that is really helpful in a relationship is to take an interest in whatever your person is interested in, right? It doesn't mean it's going to suddenly become your favorite thing, but I don't know, if they're into hockey, then go on a hockey date, right? Like show some interest in what they're into. Just like it feels good to you, it feels good to them. But when we say values or goals, I would agree. It doesn't have to be a deal breaker, but the truth is it can be. When you get down to values, that's who you are at your core. And if we circle back to where we started, and maybe you have the value and the belief that you are going to wait till marriage, or you want to say, and they feel differently, yeah, you could, because a value is like deeply ingrained in you, right? You might value time, exclusive relationship, or whatever. So if they are not willing to, not just them, if the two of you are not willing to kind of like be flexible in that, then different values can be definitely a deal breaker. Goals, I think that's more flexible, right? Because a goal is just something that you're setting that you hope to achieve. And if you have the right person in your life, you definitely can modify your goals to include them. However, especially when you're young, you don't want to go too extreme. Real life story. Praise God, it worked out. But back to that first love, right? I always had a goal that I was going to go away to college. And I applied to two schools, a HBCU. I was going to go to Spelman in Atlanta or U of I, which is in the home state that I live in. But I had fell in love, y'all. So I stayed in Illinois, right? So there's a change in goal. You know, I was certain that I was going to go to Spelman for school, but I was like, leave him or all the luckily it worked out. But clearly that was where I was meant to be at U of I, and life has, all come together. But that's what I mean about a goal. A goal is modifiable. Now, where I might have, as I've been talking about regret, still been feeling regret to this day, is had I decided I'm not going to even go to college, right? Because that was something that was more of a value. That wasn't just a goal. So goals work together, right? Life is short. If you find your person, and if God blesses you with your person at an early age, wow, that's amazing. So then those goals work together to maintain that. But values, your values are hard, deeply entrenched in you, and they are who you are. And don't change your values for anybody. Thoughts? Anything about any of this? So thoughts of what we covered so far, Trish, or final words to our young people about first love? We didn't really talk about breakup too much, like heartbreak, but
That's part 2. No.
maybe not. No.
I think that you have to remember who you are.
Yes.
And understand that what God has for you is for you. And there's nothing that can't be done without God, right? So even if it's your first love, it can work. We're not saying that it can't. We're not being dream crushers. But if it's not happening, just know that you're going to be okay.
That part, right? And like I said, I literally have a girlfriend who met her husband in high school. They've been together ever since. She's now 50 plus years old. They have 5 kids. So it can happen, and it does happen for a lot of people. In closing, I just want to say, stay true to yourself. As we've said, you don't want to lose yourself because of a relationship. I would say, how do you know if you're ready for a relationship? I would say that one indicator of that is how well do you know yourself, right? That'll tell you whether you're ready to engage with somebody else. And then when it comes to the first heartbreak, which might be, show number 2, it's rough, but I want to encourage, especially if there's any young people out there listening, you will get over it. It doesn't feel like you will in the moment, right? I've shared before, a heartbreak hurts and cuts and triggers the same parts of the mind as if someone were sawing off your arm. It is very painful. It's very real. So a mistake parents make is, saying you'll get over it too soon. Like, girl, he just your first, so you gonna. But no, it's real. But I just want to highlight, especially during Mental Health Awareness Month, that there are young people who are dealing with a breakup, and it feels like the end of the world, like they're not gonna make it through, and then they, maybe don't, but you will. There's so much more in store for you. And if that wasn't your person, trust me, God has somebody that's gonna blow your mind, right? So having said that, thank you as always for tuning in to You Plant, We Water. We truly, truly appreciate all of our listeners. Don't forget to go to our Facebook page, which is also, it's just titled You Plant, We Water as well. I don't know, I've been forgetting to put the follow-up information on there, but I'm gonna do that. But through that page, you can also direct message. If you or someone you know is interested in receiving counseling, that is a great way to get a hold of me. If I can't work with you personally, I can refer you to some highly qualified therapists out there who I would trust with my own life and well-being. Having said that, I'm trying to think what else. The Faith Over Fear Challenge, y'all. It is happening. I promise you. I think that once I announced it and said I was doing it, the enemy came. It was like, oh, you think you're going to have faith over fear? But I'm still in it, right? So what we'll do is look to start that at the beginning of this month, which should make for an amazing summer. Not this month, June. But which should make for an amazing summer for us all, because we can move through it more freely, right? Not being paralyzed with fear, worry, anxiety, but being more present in the moment and seizing the day. Any other thoughts? We're just about out of time, but
nope. All I want to say is make sure you're getting that vitamin D. That also helps, right? So we've been having seasonal depression, which allows you not to make appropriate decisions. So that's why sometimes when the summer hits, you're like, man, I'm hitting all of my goals. Well, it's the vitamin D. And I'm saying that because I am low vitamin D deficient. Yeah. But getting out there and getting that good sunshine is going to definitely help you as well. And that's all I have to say.
Yeah, love that, sis. Sunshine, exercise, get your word daily, prayer, and try to find ways to connect with people outside of social media, right? Like some type of more personal connection. These are all the things that scientists research will help. So we are gonna get ready to wrap up. We'd love to thank our executive producer, pastor of Mission Covenant Church in Blue Island, Bishop Lloyd Kohler Jr. Again, I'm Dr. Toy Flowers, licensed professional counselor. This is my distinguished co-host.
I'm Trisha Flowers, lifestyle coach and minister. So again, if you have any concerns, prayers, whatever it may be, we're here to help you. And it's a great tool. And again, thank you so much, young people, for those questions. We appreciate it.
We love our young people. And remember, you plant, we water.